You know, deep inside you, right now, there's a biological supercomputer, a living network that literally makes you, well, you. So today, we're going to take a journey through that incredible command center, your nervous system.
I want you to think of your nervous system as the ultimate electrical grid and communications network, all rolled into one incredible package. It is constantly buzzing with signals, sending messages at unbelievable speeds to coordinate everything from your heartbeat to you just thinking about what you're going to have for lunch.
And the sheer scale of this network, it's absolutely staggering. Get this, if you could take all the nerves from just one person's body and lay them end to end, they would wrap around the entire planet 2.5 times. That's the kind of wiring that's packed inside every single one of us.
So you might be wondering, how on earth does the body manage a network of that size? Well, it's all about brilliant organization. The whole system is divided into two main parts, and they're both working together on one single mission, keeping you alive, aware, and moving.
Okay, so those two parts are the central nervous system, you'll hear it called the CNS, and the peripheral nervous system, or PNS. Now, the easiest way to think about it is that the CNS is the main command center, and the PNS is the huge network of messengers that report to and from that center.
And here, you can see that division perfectly. The central nervous system, the CNS, that's just the brain and the spinal cord. That's headquarters. The peripheral nervous system, the PNS, that's literally everything else. All those branching nerves that connect the command center to every single part of your body.
All right, let's zero in on that command center for a second, the central nervous system. It's made of two incredibly important parts. You've got the brain, which is the main processor, and its vital connection to the body, the spinal cord, which acts like a biological information superhighway.
And this superhighway is busy. 24/7. Sensory information is constantly traveling up to the brain, and motor commands are traveling down. And branching off this highway are the spinal nerves, which are kind of like on-ramps and off-ramps, letting messages get in and out all the way down your torso and limbs.
But here's where it gets really cool. Sometimes, that superhighway makes decisions all on its own. For really fast responses, like, pulling your hand away from a hot stove, the signal doesn't have time to travel all the way up to the brain and back. Instead, it takes a shortcut. For survival, a special pathway called a reflex arc.
The classic knee-jerk reflex you see at the doctor's office is the perfect example. First, a tap on the tendon. That sends a sensory signal straight to the spinal cord. Then, the spinal cord, without even bothering the brain, immediately fires back a motor signal. What's the result? It tells the thigh muscle to contract, and your leg kicks out. It's a lightning-fast, protective mechanism hardwired for your safety.
So we've seen the big picture structure, right? The highways and the command centers, but who are the actual messengers carrying all this information? Let's zoom way, way in, from the superhighway down to the microscopic level, and meet the real hero of our story, the neuron.
These incredible little cells are the fundamental building blocks of the entire nervous system. Neurons are basically specialized to conduct electrical signals, passing information through your body at lightning speed. And get this, you have about 86 billion of them in your brain alone. Just incredible.
A neuron basically has three key parts that create a one-way street for information. The dendrites, they're like little antennas, they receive the signals. The cell body processes those signals, and then the long axon, it acts like a cable, sending the signal away to the next neuron in the chain.
Now, here's a crucial detail. Neurons don't actually touch each other. There's this microscopic gap between them called the synapse. So, how does the signal cross that gap? Well, this is where the magic happens, where the message actually converts from an electrical impulse into a chemical one. So when an electrical impulse zips down and reaches the end of the axon, it triggers the release of these tiny chemical messengers called neurotransmitters. These chemicals then flood into that gap, into the synapse, carrying the signal over to the next neuron in line.
And these neurotransmitters carry really simple messages. They can be excitatory, which is basically a go signal telling the next neuron to fire away, or they can be inhibitory, a stop signal telling it to hold its fire. This constant, delicate balance of go and stop signals is what governs, well, pretty much everything, from your mood to your ability to focus. Okay, let's zoom back out for a minute. We've got this gigantic network, firing electrical signals and passing chemical messages across tiny gaps. So what does this all mean? How does all this microscopic activity combine to create our actual experience of the world?
Think about it. Every single thing you perceive, the color of the sky, the sound of my voice right now, the feeling of the chair you're sitting on, It's all just raw data from the outside world. Your sensory organs translate all that data into the electrical and chemical language of neurons, and then your brain interprets those signals to construct your conscious reality. And your brain is highly organized for this massive job. Its outer layer, the cerebral cortex, is almost like a map, with specific zones dedicated to processing sensations from and sending commands to every single part of your body.
Now, neuroscientists have created this really fascinating way to visualize that brain map. It's called a homunculus, which is just Latin for little man. It's a distorted model of the human body, where the size of each part is proportional to how much brain power is devoted to it.
And this is what you get, the sensory homunculus. Look at it. Those enormous hands and lips and tongue, they show us exactly why those areas are so sensitive. A huge chunk of the sensory part of our brain is dedicated just to processing information from them. It's a perfect visual for how our brain prioritizes what it needs to feel.
So from a network that could literally wrap around the globe, all the way down to a single neuron firing a chemical message, it all comes together to build your reality. Every thought, every feeling, every sensation is just your brain's interpretation of these tiny signals. Which leaves us with a pretty profound question. If our entire world is just a biological construct, what is the real world actually like?